had run 5.05, and when we broke down our number in the previous year, we were 4.7, and James ran the Burkhart number at 4.35 in the new year. So actually, our part of it was, we've done really good on it.
Mm-hmm.
But his outside purchases went up 380% or whatever it was.
Yeah. One other thing that I've seen is that we're using adjusted production and or collections with that conversion account, which is really risky. Because in the state of Washington, WDS, our Delta program, was discounted, 15% on the Premier program, and 3 to 5% on the PPO program. So if you were using adjusted production going forward, that number is going to be that much less in production doing the same amount. And so that, there's just things that we have to be concerned about. So if you're going to do a conversion, make sure that it's based on production, UCR production. And you think that that's pretty clear to the doctor, but when they hear production, it's just whatever they use for production numbers. Could be collections, could be adjusted production, could be UCR production, and a doctor will call it production in all three cases. So any conversion, make sure you're getting UCR production numbers. Really, really important.
Doug, what if they don't have a clue what the gross production is, because they don't post it. All they post is
the adjusted number. And that's happening, and we're going to talk about that as well.
What do they post with their accountant?
Their adjusted number.
Well, for their accountant, they post collections always,
So
always, yeah. Because the accountant doesn't want to see production, adjusted production. They only want to see collections. You're at risk, but at least you know that you're at risk. And I don't know what you're going to do about it, if you find that you're running behind. But I try to have a conversation with each doctor that, if you're using adjusted numbers or collections, you're not getting a true picture of what's going on in your practice. And if you're posted adjusted numbers, how are you going to know how much you're losing for each PPO program? If I'm a dentist, I want to know what it's costing me to have United Healthcare or MetLife, or in my practice it costs me X amount of dollars in adjusted production. But if you're posting an adjusted amount, that goes away.
I guess he's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but those are some things to be concerned about when you're doing a conversion with an existing account. I'm still in favor of it because it's a much stronger hold with that customer. Brandon has been doing reviews with his customers without doing guarantees, and he's been very successful doing that because he believed in reviewing the numbers with his customers. So he was accomplishing the same thing without a guarantee, but the rest of the company's doing it differently. So, okay, any questions? Anyone have any comments about existing customers?
I suspect you want to make sure they are adjusting their fees also.
Good point. Good point.
You got to worry about the production.
Because I have visited offices where they haven't raised their fees in 3 or 4 years, especially during the recession. I just don't feel good about raising my fees. So, because people are not doing well out there. The staff will generally be the biggest deterrent to raising fees. They just they're identifying with the patients and the struggles that the patients have making ends meet. And doctor, you really don't need to raise your fees this year. We really need to give our patients a break. And so that's what they're up against. And a lot of them don't raise them on a regular basis. That's one thing that I've liked about using our recommended fee schedule that some of you have used that I've been doing for 15 or 20 years, it at least puts the thought in their mind. Whether they use those exact fees or not, that's one thing. But the fact that they are reviewing their fees is an important process. So, good point. Thank you.
The existing customers, there's a lot of reasons to put them on. I mean, the stickiness factor, the business reviews, the protection from the competition, there's a lot of reasons to do it. I think from what Doug was saying there, the best thing to remember is when you've got an account manager bringing that forward, what's the business plan? What are you going to do different this year? And that was a great question you posed right there. I think it's a question we need to pose. Because you got to do something different. You can't go status quo because then you got a 50-50 chance you're going to be above or below. And that's a risky game to play. But it's like, what are you focused on? What do they use that you can help them with to make a transition and to save?
I wish all of you would start including that, in your discussions with your account managers. Give me a business plan. If it's a sketchy SSG, what's your business plan? If it's moving an existing customer to an SSG, what is your business plan? Right up front, start talking about it. What are you going to do differently? How are you going to make this thing work? If you have a small payoff and you're going to renew a customer, what is your business plan? What are you going to do differently? We failed this year. What are you going to do differently next year? Give me your business plan. I think that you might cause them to think a little bit more about, who was it, Schwarzkopf said that wishing and hoping is not a business plan. And I think that often that's what we get.
Angela had an endo practice, very large endo practice that she put on SSG. And of course, they were very low to start.
Mm-hmm.
And so she noticed after the first 2 quarters that we were a little above the guarantee. So she worked with customer service, like one-on-one, calling Jim Beal,
Mm-hmm.
what can we do, going over the product list, and found some great alternative product that brought them down and under that percent. So at year end, she was fine.
Sounds like a business plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great.
No, that's the kind of activity we need so that we're not just paying off and hoping. Okay, are you going to do a role play?
Yeah. So we've got a little scenario here for a, whoa, I went backwards. Let me get back there. Okay, for a role play. The situation here is you've got an existing customer, but we have a little game here because we haven't been getting all the business, we've been getting part of their business. And so, as you see there, we're getting 70% now. The rest of it's either going to direct companies or to Darby. And the customer has said, well, I don't know if I really need to buy all my stuff from one company. But they've been working with us for about 5 years. So what we'd like to do is get you guys split into groups of 3. And if we can just start on this end, Derek, you, Pete, and Steve, one group, and from there, just keep going 1, 2, 3, and that's a group of 3 all the way around. And we'll spend the next half hour with each of you. One of you be the doctor, one of you be the presenter, one be the observer, and give each other feedback on how that sounds. Everybody good there? Ready, bro?